friends, enemies, those still under review, hairstylists who could maybe help me get this shit under control, and the sponsor of today's episode, Keeps. I'm joking. I wish they would sponsor me though, because I'm going bald. Crying noises. Anyway, let's talk about a supposedly simple but surprisingly complex question. Who's the last emperor of the Roman Empire? Now we're going to examine 6 different candidates. I've written them down on this computer screen that you cannot see. Ooh, I could trick you. I could add someone on there and you would never know. I'm talking to you, Sora. You would never know. Anyway, so let's examine our first candidate for the last Roman emperor. Julius Nepos, or Julius Nepos. So he is the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire, that the Eastern Roman Empire also accepted as being emperor. So Julius Nepos is the emperor when Rome is sacked by the barbarians in 476. So he flees to Croatia, and another man named Romulus Augustus, who is our second person, perhaps, he's our second person on the list. And Romulus Augustus is proclaimed emperor of Rome in Rome, but he isn't recognized by the Senate or by the Eastern Roman Emperor. He doesn't recognize him. So Julius Nepos is considered the last emperor of the West. Now in the East, you have the Byzantines, or the Eastern Roman Empire under a different name, who keep on trucking for another 1,000 years until 1453, when Constantinople, or Istanbul, is captured by the Turks, who then end the Byzantine Empire. So the last emperor of the East, is Constantine the 11th. We don't really know what happened to him, but we know he probably didn't survive. We know he kind of disappeared during the battle and likely died and ended up in a mass grave. Anyway, so Constantine the 11th is the last emperor of the East. Kind of. You also have... So let's go back to the Fourth Crusade. The Fourth Crusade was a crusade put together by the Christians, but they never make it to their destination. Instead, they sack Constantinople and basically destroy the Byzantine Empire for a few years. And the ruling family at the time, the Comnenid dynasty, flee to a place called Trebizond in the east. Now, Trebizond outlasts Constantinople by 7 years. And they also had their own emperor, and his name was David Komnenos. Now, David Komnenos flees, or he dies when the Turks also seize Trebizond in 1460. But David Komnenos, his family was married to the Prince of Moscow. So our next stop on who could potentially be the last Roman emperor is the Tsars of Russia, strangely. So the Tsars of Russia can kind of trace their lineage all the way back to Rome. If we go through the maternal side with something's mother. So then if we're going off that logic, the last emperor of Rome is Tsar Nicholas II. Yep, that one, the one who gets shot in a basement. Anyway, Nicholas doesn't have the best claim to being the last emperor. Especially because he was Russian and wasn't Roman at all, and didn't consider himself to be Roman, and didn't consider himself an emperor. He considered himself a czar. Anyway, differences don't really matter. So then our next candidate is to look back in the East. Look back in the West. So in the west, you have Charlemagne. Charlemagne conquers half of Western Europe and is proclaimed Emperor of the West. But he's never recognized by the East. And then another man named Otto I is also crowned the Roman Emperor. And he's crowned, and this crowning of Otto starts the beginning of the Holy Roman Empire, which literally has nothing to do with Rome, but it's a catchy name, kinda. So the Holy Roman Empire is this big confederation of states in the center of Europe. Think modern day Germany, Switzerland, and northern Italy. That's the Holy Roman Empire. And the Holy Roman Empire is eventually dominated by the Austrians, or specifically the Habsburgs, who, after about the 1500s, are all elected as the Holy Roman Emperor. So there is the argument that could be made that the last emperor of the Austrians, Francis II, or he's not, okay. The argument could be made that the last emperor of the Austrians, who also held the title Holy Roman Emperor, could be considered the last emperor of Rome. And that would be Francis II. Now, Francis lost his title when Napoleon dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. Or more accurately, Napoleon conquered all of it, and Francis just said, destroyed, we're done, no more doing this bullshit. So, those are our 6 candidates. Julius Nepos, Romulus Augustus, Constantine XI, David Komnenos, Nicholas II, and Francis II. I don't know. Full stop. I have no idea who the last Roman emperor is. There's a million different people you could make the claim for. These are just 6 that I could find that had the best claim. And hell, Nicholas is a very long stretch. Hell, so is Francis. So, I know you probably won't, but give me your feedback. Based on these, who do you think is the last Roman emperor? And did I actually use the list that I have written? You'll never know. Anyway, have fun, bully Sam, and remember, bow ties are cool.